AEW has revealed plans for a surprise on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Plus, we're going to talk about MJF going to WWE and so much more. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. Yes. Hopefully, you guys are all having a good one. Yeah, I just want to kick things off with Christian Cage. I think this is pretty simple. Christian Cage did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. If you guys know anything about Chris Van Vliet, I think he has probably some of the best interviews on the internet, honestly. Love this interview. Absolutely love this interview. And one of the things that he was talking about in this interview was his contract status. And basically what you need to know is that he has 3 years left on his AEW contract. And he specifically says we'll see where we go after that, which obviously I think from a fan perspective, man, you guys could love or hate AEW, and I could criticize AEW and talk about AEW, but if there's one thing that I genuinely love about AEW, it's how they've handled the career of Christian Cage. Yeah, I love the way that he's booked on TV, the way that he's presented, and one of the things that I love so much about this interview was kind of just listening to him talk about the way he does things. His process for delivering a promo and not being so rehearsed all the time and just being able to say and do the things that he wants to do on television. But if you look at the way that he's been booked, yeah, I mean, I think we can talk a lot about booking decisions and it's obviously subjective. But when I see Christian Cage, before going to AEW, I don't know if WWE would have done something this cool with him. And I'm not trying to make it a WWE versus AEW thing. But what I'm trying to do is suggest that maybe AEW has been really, really good with the way that they've presented legends in the sport. There seems to be this thing on the internet where if you're an older wrestler, you can't go anymore. You can't do things. You shouldn't be getting pushed or anything like that. But Christian Cage, he's a healthy wrestler. And he is one that I think delivers not only great moments, because obviously he does a lot of that in AEW, but it seems like he's very focused on progressing the storyline. So if this guy is going to be in AEW for 3 more years and calls it a career, obviously that would suck. But after 3 years, man, I don't know if I would want Christian to leave AEW. I genuinely mean that. I feel like he fits in very well there. I feel like they've presented him extremely well. Yeah, maybe not everything that he does on TV is something that I absolutely love, but I feel like they've booked him incredibly well. And for him to talk about his contract situation, I think it's important because we're kind of living in a day of living in this day of age. I don't know if that's what I'm even trying to say, but we're living at a time period where, quite honestly, a lot of people are just going to be switching companies. Like, that's just the reality. With Christian, I kind of want to see him get the Sting treatment, which I know it's very odd considering that he's a heel character, but it is something that I do want to see because I love the way he's been booked there and he's been presented well. And quite honestly, I don't think he would fit in WWE. Let's talk about MJF. MJF covered a lot of topics in a new interview with Sports Illustrated. And one of the things that was asked about was about his decision of staying with AEW and whether or not he considered WWE. And he says, of course there was. Am I going to get into the weeds? No, but at this point in time, this move, staying with AEW, made the most sense for me. I'm making a ton of money. As far as when the contract ends, that's nobody's business but my own. Now, obviously, if you guys watch my channel, I have been very apprehensive about believing everything regarding MJF's contract situation. The whole bidding war of 2024 obviously wasn't put onto television anymore. He got injured. I do believe that when he did return to the company at some point, beforehand, not before the injury, or not after the injury, but before the injury, long before he was doing the Devil storyline, I think he re-signed with the company. I love MJF. I'm a huge fan of MJF. And of course, I'm always going to be a little bit more vocal about MJF potentially going to WWE because it's one of those things where it might not ever happen, but it would be nice to see it, right? Like, I grew up wanting to watch Sting and Undertaker, and I never got that. I would love to see somebody like Randy Orton go into AEW and see how things go, right? There is a little bit of a mystery behind whether or not WWE would do well with him. But I never for 1 second believed that there was a chance he was leaving AEW. with that being said, though, MJF talking about there being an actual possibility of going to WWE, I don't know if I genuinely believe that either. This guy literally got a tattoo of AEW on his leg. This guy is the company guy for AEW. And it's going to be really interesting to see what MJF does when you consider the fact that AEW in 2024 is a completely different company. Now, I actually did go back and watch a very, very, very awesome time as an AEW fan, which was 2019 to 2021. I went back and watched some stuff just to see if my memory served me correct. And everything that MJF did on TV, man, it felt like a big deal. When he introduced Wardlow, when, you know, he did the lashes to Cody Rhodes, even the beginning stuff with the Inner Circle, and, you know, just, man, it was a different time period. And that version of AEW fit very well for MJF. But now AEW has Okada and Ospreay and all these other guys. And I think people forget how good of a wrestler MJF is. But MJF was the star of AEW during those years. Will MJF be the star for AEW these years? I don't know. But it's intriguing to me. And I do look forward to seeing what comes out of it. And it actually all begins tonight on Dynamite. Guys, AEW might be taking a page out of WWE's book. I'm actually intrigued by this. Very intrigued by this. We'll see what happens. But AEW revealed on social media that your CEO, Mercedes Varnado, is looking to reward her loyal fans. Watch AEW Dynamite tonight at 8/7 Central to learn how to follow the money. In addition to that, there is an image here, and it says, follow the money. Keep your eye out for a QR code in AEW Dynamite tonight for a surprise from your CEO. QR codes in wrestling seems to get controversial when WWE does it with Uncle Howdy or Bray Wyatt, but I always like the idea of keeping people on their toes. QR codes is something I think is cool in wrestling. I'm totally supportive of it. AEW wanting to do it with Mercedes. Who knows what it's going to be? Clearly, they have some sort of surprise. I don't know what it's going to entail. I like the idea of this. Now, I don't know what it could be. I genuinely don't know what it could be. And I think that's what makes it kind of intriguing. It doesn't seem like AEW is set to announce a new signing. It doesn't seem like they're going to have like a surprise debut or something like that. This is one of those surprises where I think it's going to tie into the product in the aspect of Mercedes, and maybe for Forbidden Door, something like that. I don't know. One thing I thought that would be a really interesting idea, and I don't think this is realistic at all, but I do want to point it out. Adam Copeland was revealed for the AEW Fight Forever video game, and maybe I've completely missed it, but I'm pretty sure Mercedes has not been added in yet. So, yeah, I'm just kind of throwing it out there. It would be kind of cool for them to drop the QR code and then announce that Mercedes Moné is free DLC. Fight Forever is now free on PlayStation Plus. So it's just something I'm kind of throwing out there. I don't think it's realistic, but they have some sort of surprise here. I'm excited to see what it is. And let me know what you guys think it could be down below in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.